All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we are going to finish talking about numerology. Not finish because we just getting started, okay? But we're going to start talking about the single digit numbers. I'm going to break this up into a number per episode just because I really want to go as deep as I possibly can on some of this information. We'll be talking about the esoteric meaning of these numbers as well. And I think it's really important when it comes to these single digit numbers because they set the foundation for numerology, okay? So again, today we're going to talk about single digit numbers in numerology. The single digit numbers are going to be 1 through 9. And again, like I said, they set the foundation of numerology and provide order in the universe. Okay. Because if you think about it, whenever we were manifested, there had to start with 1 first, and then we evolved into something else. Okay. So in order to understand this, we'll look at each number as if it has a personality or it's a person or a character archetype. The shape of the numbers will also help us to remember the energy associated with it. Now, numerologists believe that the shape is the thing, like the symbol is the thing and the word is the thing. So it holds a frequency of whatever we're trying to understand. Okay. So I've actually talked about this before on my platform with your name being the thing. We chose our name before we got here because it holds a specific frequency. That is our core frequency. So whenever somebody is doing work,
After her! Hurry!
If you know what I'm talking about, you know, whenever somebody is doing work, they could just use your name because the name is the thing, like the symbol is the thing. Our name is just the symbol for us. Okay. So let's get into it. First, today, we're going to talk about the number 1. Like I said in the astrology episode that dropped this week, the number 1 is associated with the sun. Okay. The sun is the creator of this universe. If you know, you know. If you want more information on that, please go to my podcast, season 2, when I'm talking about the stanzas. Okay. It'll tell you how the universe was created in intricate detail. All right, so we'll start with number 1. Now, number 1 is the leader, or also called the primal force. 1 is called the primal force because all numbers come from this number. No other number would exist without number 1 first being there. Okay. Now, there's a sense of motivation and momentum that comes from 1s. The spiritual significance of 1 is that it is considered to be the number of creation and the origin of everything in existence. So if you listen to my podcast, I often talked about the all. Okay, the all is also referred to as the 1, which is just what we would consider to be God or God energy. This is where everything comes from and where everything will go back to after this. Okay, so the symbol for the number 1 is very straight and upright. That's how you can consider these people to be. Okay, very straight and upright. So people who stand very straight and upright carry themselves with poise, pride, and purpose. So first, let's talk about the esoteric meaning, and then we'll discuss what it means in modern numerology today. And when I say modern numerology, I'm thinking this is going to be specifically based off of Western numerology, based off Pythagoras. Now, we will, throughout this series, go through the different types of numerology. There's Chinese numerology. There's esoteric numerology, which we're going to kind of cover in here. There's Chaldean numerology. The Western is Pythagoras, but there's so many different types of numerology. And I think it's really important for us to understand them all, or basically have a concept or awareness of them all so that we can apply it to our life, because numbers hold frequencies and numbers tell us a lot about ourselves. Okay. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Now, the definition of esoteric numerology is the art and the science of understanding the spiritual significance and orderly progression of all things that have been manifested. Anything in this universe, anything that you can see has been manifested into this universe. Okay. And it comes from this all, which is basically like absolute light. But it's what we would consider to be darkness because we don't really have perception of that. We don't realize that we live in this realm of illusions where we're basically just seeing the shadow of things, and light is illuminating the shadow of things. But that's a whole nother conversation that we're not going to get into today. Okay. So occultists believe that numerology started when life began in this manifested universe, because 1 sets the foundation for everything, is the creator. Then the vibrations began, and there were 2, or the first pair. They believe this to be the beginning of universal geometry, okay, because geometry plays a significant role in the way that light organizes itself in the universe, and we live in a light matrix, okay? Which, again, we're going to talk about that when we talk about energy, okay, later on in the week, which I think should be tomorrow. So ancient numerologists believe that the numbers 1 through 9 represented the stages that all things evolve through and grow through in a cyclical manner. They also believed 1 through 9 are stages that ideas go through to manifest into reality. So all manifested things are a result of these 9 stages, okay? 9 is supposed to be the most spiritual, most evolved number of all the numbers, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But everything, how we have things organized, or from our understanding, everything kind of goes through these 7 densities of consciousness. Okay. And 7 is a huge number because everything goes through this same evolutionary cycle. But this is basically saying that it's actually 1 through 9 that's very major when it comes to us evolving through things. Everything that has been manifested evolved through this 1 through 9 energy, or the way that it's geometry. So it's hard to explain it in simple forms, but everything evolves through this 1 through 9 energy, okay? And they're specific energies. Don't think of them as numbers, think of them as energies, okay? So they believe that every word had a number vibration, including your name. And when we get to understand the letter and number code, it would bring us closer to the underlying universal intelligence that is present in everything. Okay. So I think that numbers actually connect us to spirit. Now, I got this directly from the book, but they said 1 represents the ion, the beginning, the genesis, and the first spark of energy emerging from source energy. Okay. So the first thing that emerges is the monad. So 1 would be considered the monad, the 1. Okay. They believe that 1 stand alone and work better isolated because they were all that was at one point. 1 searches for its own way to express itself and is free from peer pressure or outside influence. It makes all the necessary decisions to fulfill its destiny. Now, to me, when I look at this 1 energy, I immediately think Aries men.
You'll get no sympathy from me. You want sympathy? Look in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. That's where you'll find my sympathy.
Aries men embody this 1 energy. We'll get there. Okay, so let's talk about the characteristics of 1, and then we'll talk about modern numerology. We'll talk about the lessons, if you embody this 1 energy, the lesson that you came here to learn, the strengths of 1, the weaknesses of the 1, all of that. Okay, we're going to get into all of it. Now, 1 is the masculine principle, or the yang, and the yin and yang. 1 is the masculine principle. Okay, so 1s are independent starters and very pioneering. They are always looking for new opportunities to define themselves and build an identity that is separate from others. They are constantly testing the limits in order to determine their natural skills and capabilities. Ancients believed that this energy was very pure, and it was seen as positive, authentic, and creative energy, but it was also seen as energy that is constantly in motion. Now, if you watch my episode this week on the sun has this energy that is constantly moving. 1 is associated with the sun, so that should sound very familiar. Now, since 1 start as all that it was, or all that was in existence, they are seen as energy that takes control and forges its own destiny. Which takes courage and determination. So they think 1s have a lot of courage and determination. 1s have never been scared of anything, and they definitely never been scared of a challenge, okay? Because one thing I've learned about this 1 energy is they're kind of alchemists when it comes to their failures and their pains. They take that and they use that shit as fuel. They believe 1s to be very self-conscious and the real I am of humanity. 1 is the unifying principle of all. They referred to 1s as he who goes forth. Okay. And I'm talking about the esoteric. All of this comes from esoteric knowledge. Okay. These are the esoteric characteristics. Okay. So they believed one to be self-conscious in the real I am of humanity. One is the unifying principle of all. They refer to ones as he who goes forth. Keywords to describe the one in esoteric terms are going to be dominating, leaders, pioneer, independent, individualistic, original, creative, the start of any activity or operation, and the authority figure. All right. So that's esoteric. Now let's talk about modern numerology. Okay, let's talk about the strengths and let's talk about the weaknesses. Now, the strengths of one are going to be that ones are very divine, they're confident, they're powerful, and they're action focused. Okay, get in the field.
He should have told you about me. I get active, little baby, ma'am, missus. I get active for real.
This is the type of energy that's very impulsive. It leaps before it looks. Okay, so these are the doers. Number ones are doers, and they push us to embrace change by taking control of our life and circumstances, then pushing through for better outcomes and opportunities. Meaning, like, they encourage you to be your best self. Okay, to do things at 100% and to really go after what it is that you want fearlessly and not caring about the judgment of other people. It's really like, this is what I want to do, and putting that shit into action. It's putting your money where your fucking mouth is. This is what this energy is about, okay? And it's so powerful that it will push through any circumstances to get better results. It does not believe in limitations or no's. It is very much so that if there's a will, there's a way mentality, okay? Ones are very practical and realistic. They're also very independent. This energy would prefer to just jump in and figure it out as they go. They don't waste a lot of time planning for shit. They just like, okay, they see a problem, they start working towards the solution. Ones prefer to work alone because they won't have any restrictions, and they often figure out the most efficient ways to do things anyway. Ones remind me of like manifest and generator energy, if you know anything about human design. If you want to know about human design, first season of my podcast, it's on my YouTube. This energy is very goal focused and determined to get what it wants. The energy of this number can turn the impossible into possible. They tend to be more optimistic, and I think this comes from this belief in their capabilities. Like, they really do believe in themselves. They're very innovative and strong-willed. They're always thinking of the new way to do something and implementing it successfully, meaning that they got the execution behind it. They're very creative problem solvers and unconventional at times. The one is a leader, and it is always taking control of a situation and leading people in the appropriate direction. The one is constantly moving forward, growing and evolving infinitely, meaning that it's very expansive in the way that it works as well. They are also open to exploring new things, and they are risk takers, very courageous, in fact. Ones are very loyal, definitely someone you want in your corner. They're great protectors and very moral people. They are always going to stand up for anyone who they feel an injustice has been done to them. They also have the gift for seeing people for exactly who the fuck they are. And they're not afraid to call a spade a spade. They have an amazing sense of humor, even when the joke is directed at them. They tend to be good sports if they think it's funny. If they don't think it's funny, baby. Okay? Let's talk about the weaknesses. There's a lot of aggression and ambitious energy here in this one energy, which is needed if you want to create and produce. But sometimes this energy can feel very forceful. Okay. It doesn't know when enough is enough. And usually ones don't know how to just sit still. Okay. They're constantly reaching for something or the next thing, because again, like, they're constantly in that motion. The one does not hesitate when it comes to confrontation. It is very much so, like I said, giving Aries energy. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. They're not that complex and very blunt and straightforward. Ones pay no mind to anything that is not progressing or moving them forward. They can be really inconsiderate of others and selfish at times. They're not the best in team settings. Ones have the need to conquer, and they have like this warrior spirit. Deep down, they have deep fears of making mistakes or not living up to their own potential. But sometimes this need to conquer thing can come off as like very, very controlling. Okay. But the crazy thing about that is they don't actually like being controlled or forced to behave a certain way, right? Trying to control this one energy always results in some type of pushback or full on rebellion. However, they tend to try to control other people. Okay. They don't like criticism, and they can be very sensitive. That's why I said if they think the joke is funny, it's funny. But if not, this is a very, very sensitive energy. Now, people don't talk about how sensitive Aries are. Aries are very sensitive. They get offended very quickly, and they're impulsive, and they're quick to anger very quickly as well. That's why I said this reminds me so much of that Aries energy, or that fire energy. Okay. They are great at alchemizing the criticism to make them better, though. So once they actually take a second and they're done being mad, they actually reflect and think on what the criticism was, right? They are able to implement, like take that criticism and use it to make them better. Okay, so the one is still balanced and a bit of a perfectionist, but oftentimes they can be stubborn, they can be jealous. And this energy is gonna test you too. It doesn't like people who kiss your ass. Like, they are not they like authentic people. Okay. They would rather befriend somebody who stands up for themselves, even if that shit is directed at them, because they have respect for them. But they don't like a yes man. They don't like a kiss ass. They don't like nobody that's like that. They rather you just be like, shoot the ones with them. Like, hey, hold on, I ain't really like that. They can respect that way more than they can respect somebody who just lets you run over them. Okay. But ones are the most difficult of all lovers. Okay. Like I said earlier, they are jealous by nature. Okay. They will demand that you meet their needs. They're very confrontational. They're impatient and they're impulsive. Okay. Which means risk takers. Sometimes they can be fucking reckless, downright reckless. Okay. So it's very hard to please a one. And oftentimes you'll find yourself at the other end of abuse and feeling like you will never meet their expectations. They will definitely try you, but you will always come out on the other side a better version of yourself. Okay. So they do test you a little bit. However, it comes from this place of like seeing how much potential you have and trying to push you towards that. However, it's not always done in a way that's comfortable for the person who's experiencing it. And sometimes it could be emotional abuse. It could be, the way that they're delivering the message, not actually what they're saying. Okay. Most of their happiness and joy, though, comes from work. So most of ones are very successful, but they have this dark side that feels really dangerous at times because they can be self-centered. And like I said, they can be really, really reckless. All right. Now, the lesson that you want to learn with this one energy is that these ones are here to learn how to genuinely become confident in themselves and their abilities, and learn how to be more trusting of other people, because there's a little bit of skepticism here, which again, Aries. Okay. They give me Aries energy all over. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments after hearing this. Does this give y'all Aries energy? Because it's screaming in my head. Okay. So they're here to learn how to genuinely be confident in themselves and their abilities. Okay. Because they are good at a lot of different things, but they're honestly just moving so fast and constantly moving on to the next thing that they never get to stop and just be satisfied with their accomplishments. Stop and just say, I'm doing a good fucking job, because they're constantly reaching for more and more and more. Okay. Which can affect their confidence because they don't sit in those accomplishments. All right. And they also need to learn how to trust others. Now, in conclusion, one is not the loneliest number. I know y'all heard this. That is not it. One is the center of all existence. Okay. One represents new beginnings and exploration, infinite possibilities and opportunities. I'm talking about, this is expansive, infinite energy. It represents momentum, ego, purpose, and being the creator of your own reality in your own life. Okay. Because if you think about this one energy that creates everything, right? All the possibilities are in front of you. You can create whatever it is that you want to create. So this energy is constantly pushing you to do that. Okay. It empowers you to get up, to take control of your life, and to get things done. And to me, they're the ultimate alchemists, because they take their pain and their failures and use it to fuel, whatever it is that they're trying to do to reach higher heights. And in the process, not only are they able to, empower themselves, but they empower and inspire other people to do the same. Because people would just be looking at them like, damn, like, you're really getting after it. Like, I'm not doing enough. Okay. But like everything, they have a dark side that wants to conquer. They can be controlling, jealous, impulsive, selfish, and inconsiderate, even a tad bit moody. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. Okay. They have a hard time taking direction, and they may engage in a lot of negative self-talk, because again, they're here to learn how to genuinely be confident in themselves, which means they have to genuinely love themselves too. Okay. So the negative self-talk it comes from this not being confident in their own abilities. Okay. But if they can balance this out, they will authentically embody their energy, which will help them to become more confident in themselves and easier to be around because they're attracting people who are actually like them. You know, when you're not living as your true authentic self, you attract people who act like the projection that you're projecting to the world. They act like your mask, right? The version of you that you show everybody that's not the true version of you, right? They act just like that. And one day you wake up and you look around and you're like, I fucking hate these people that are around me. But it's not them that you hate. It's yourself. Okay. So that negative self-talk comes from self-hatred. Okay. But the closer that you get to the version of yourself that you actually fucking want to be, because if we talked about in the Sun episode, y'all, if y'all have not seen the Sun episode from the astrology series that dropped yesterday, go back and watch it. Okay. Because I talk about this and how the Sun is associated with the number 1, right? And when the Sun empowers you to be your authentic self, the Sun is about your core values and your core frequency. And whenever you can align to whatever that frequency is, depending on whatever sign it's in, you will become authentically yourself. And that is when you have the most fucking power. That is when your vital life force energy is at its highest. Okay. And that's when the path forward actually illuminates for you. But first, you have to be yourself. Be your fucking self. First, you have to listen to your soul's callings. Regardless of who everybody has told you to be, you have to choose to just be who you are in spite of them. You have to not care about what other people are going to say about you because your vision wasn't given to them because it wasn't meant for them. Okay. Once you get to that confident energy, they're going to be magnetic. They're going to be so helpful to other people and so expansive. And they are the push that we need to get the shit that we need to get done. Okay. So you attract the people who are actually like you when you're acting like you. Okay. You got to let people see you. Now, that's it for our lesson for today. If you like this type of content, like I said, please like, comment, share, subscribe if you have not already. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about the single digit 2. So I love y'all deep. And until next time.